Anita Cobby, 26 years old, a daughter, wife, and nurse, fell victim to a brutal and horrifying murder in the city of Blacktown, Australia. Anita had a wonderful childhood with her younger sister, Catherine, whom she considered her best friend, and her parents, Grace and Gary. Upon graduating high school, she decided to follow in her mother's footsteps by enrolling in nursing school. After graduation, she began working as a trainee nurse at a hospital in Sydney, where she met John Cobby, another trainee nurse who was captivated by her beauty. John had ended his relationship with his girlfriend soon after Anita joined, initially feeling she was out of his league. However, Anita eventually showed some interest, and they exchanged mutual feelings. They married in 1982, and soon after, Anita became pregnant. Excited, they both looked forward to their baby, but Anita miscarried after 9 weeks. Devastated, John tried to console Anita by saving money through betting on horse races, aiming to take her on a world tour since Anita expressed a desire to visit Rome. After a year of traveling around the world, they returned to Sydney, and John expressed his readiness to try for another baby. But Anita, being a young woman in her mid-20s with aspirations to pursue another degree and learn Spanish, did not agree. This led to disagreements, and they decided to separate for 6 weeks to reevaluate their relationship. Their relationship was wonderful, and John was obsessively in love with Anita. Being together brought happiness to those around them. During their separation, Anita moved back to her parents' home in Blacktown, a city known for its high crime rate. She commuted an hour daily by train to Sydney for work. Anita's father, Gary, would meet her at the station after her workday to walk her home. One day, after a night out with her colleagues in Sydney, Anita returned to Blacktown. At the station, she couldn't find a working payphone to call her father, and there were no taxis available, so she decided to walk the 20-minute distance home. That day, Anita did not return home. Her parents were not immediately alarmed, thinking she might have stayed over at a friend's place. But the next day, they received a call from one of her colleagues asking about her whereabouts. Both parties had assumed she was with the other. Gary then reported her missing to the police, while her mother called everyone she could think of. Upon hearing the news, John rushed to Blacktown, and the police began searching for her. A day later, a farmer reported that his cows were gathered around something unusual. Upon investigation, he discovered the naked, brutally abused body of a woman. Her parents were called to identify her, but only her father was allowed to do so, fainting from the shock upon seeing her. The police discovered that Anita's injuries indicated the involvement of multiple individuals. They quickly ruled out John Cobby, Anita's husband, as a prime suspect. Investigations continued covertly, but with little evidence. The next day, a leaked coroner's report was broadcast on a popular radio show across Australia, detailing every gruesome aspect of her murder. The public was horrified and outraged, holding protests outside police stations, while large business owners offered a $50,000 reward for information leading to the capture of Anita Cobby's killers. A week later, a tip-off from an informant led the police to a gang of 5 young men. John Travers, Michael Murdoch, Leslie Murphy, and Leslie's older brothers, Michael and Gary Murphy. They had stolen a car that night. One detective recalled a young man reporting hearing a woman screams outside his home, seeing a car with 5 young men inside. The informant's description matched the car's characteristics. Each of the reported men had extensive criminal records, with John Travers having the worst. Travers had endured a troubled childhood, abused by his parents, addicted to drugs and alcohol since age 12, and expelled from school. He and the other young men had been roaming the streets since they were young. They were brought in for questioning about the car theft.